News 19 is your local election headquarters, and News 19, Emerson College, and The Hill conducted a statewide poll ahead of the Alabama primaries, which are set for May 24th. Now, the most closely watched race is a bid to succeed Alabama's longtime U.S. Senator Richard Shelby.
Now, the GOP field is led by Mike Durant, an aerospace executive and former U.S. Army Black Hawk pilot. Katie Britt, who served as the Business Council of Alabama's executive director as well as a former Shelby aide, and Huntsville area Congressman Mo Brooks, who was originally endorsed by former President Donald Trump, but saw that endorsement pulled last week.
News 19 investigative reporter Dallas Parker joining us now in the studio. And Dallas, I know you have taken a long look at these numbers. What do they show?
I have indeed. Well, with less than 2 months until Alabama's primary elections, our new poll shows Mike Durant is the front runner. Katie Britt trails him by about 10 points, and Mo Brooks is about 20 points behind Durant. And a lot of voters are still undecided. I spoke to two News 19 political analysts about what the numbers say about the Senate race. Mike Durant, a political newcomer, leads the Senate race with 33%, 10 points more than his closest Republican rival, Katie Britt. Congressman Mo Brooks, who up until last week had the endorsement of former President Donald Trump, registered just 12% support in the poll.
I think Mo should be extremely concerned, but unfortunately, I don't know what he can really do. You know, the primary is in about a couple of months now. Even with advertising, he has been slammed repeatedly by both Britt and Durant in vulnerable areas, or if not by them directly, certainly PACs that are sympathetic to them.
Our poll shows about a quarter of the expected Republican voters remain undecided. News 19 political analyst Jay Town says voters still don't know much about Britt or Durant. Brooks is better known but has limited support. Former President Trump has said he would be endorsing a new candidate in the Senate race, but how much will it matter?
I'd be cautious about how impactful the former president's endorsement will be going forward, because some might construe it as sort of cherry picking, because he's already endorsed a candidate, withdrawn it, and now he's going to endorse one of two remaining candidates.
Unless a candidate gets the majority of the votes, over 50%, there will be a runoff. That runoff could be decided by where third place candidates' voters go next.
If Durant or Congressman Brooks don't make the runoff, are those voters going to blame the other for their guy not making the cut for the runoff, and then go ahead and vote for Britt? Are they just going to vote for, if I'm not voting for the one Huntsville candidate, I'm going to vote for the other Huntsville candidate?
Political analyst David Person says some of the polling data is expected, but not all of it.
It's not a surprise to see that Mo has plummeted, since he's lost Trump's endorsement, and he was already on a downward spiral before that. So that's not a shocker. But the big surprise is Durant and his ascent.
Trump, who's popular in Alabama, is still an X factor in the race.
It's less important who Trump endorses and more important to note who Trump attacks. And right now, Trump is attacking Mo.
Now, coming up on News 19 at 6, we'll be talking the gubernatorial race. Find out what our poll says about incumbent Governor Kay Ivey and her opponents coming up.